Hey, listen, how about we give you a couple of million? We call it even. It's good. You look away. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Crypto Basic Podcast. My name is Kareem Baruch. I'm here with my co-host, Brent Philbin.
Hey, what's up?
And Adam Ruthless Levy.
Hello.
Okay, so you're listening to the Crypto Basic Podcast, and of course, this specifically is our Friday flagship episode. This is going to be released October 4th. Friday flagship, guys, where we discuss the news and events in the crypto world and the world at large, anything that we think influences the crypto space. And the first thing we want to do is kick off into our rapid fire section. These are some interesting headlines that we're not going to dive too far into, but we think you should know about. Adam's going to take our rapid fire, and ball's on your court, sir.
Welcome to the rapid fire. And the first little article is IKEA just allowed an invoice to be paid via the Ethereum blockchain. That's kind of cool. So the IKEA in Iceland has used Ethereum to settle an invoice with a local retailer. I mean, this is definitely the first time I've heard of IKEA doing anything with crypto. You know, this isn't the company of IKEA, but it is pretty cool that an IKEA decided they were going to use the Ethereum blockchain to settle an invoice.
And when you're thinking of complicated things like crypto, what better partner for having a complicated setup of a wallet than IKEA? I can't think of anyone else that I would rather have endorsing blockchain, although they did use some sort of stablecoin. I don't know what it was, but
the way to download the wallet and put it together and set it up was all in Swedish. So it was just kind of like,
there's just pictures of fat people putting things together. Why are they always fat in the IKEA things?
Well, because they know that it's going to America.
Good point. Yes, that makes sense. Are they so they're skinny on the like European versions?
Yeah, for sure.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
There you go.
So this blockchain that was paid with was the European version. So this was skinny people showing you in pictures how to do a crypto wallet. There was a bunch of question marks everywhere, and I don't know why I'm rolling with this. Isn't that funny?
It's all right. So the next topic is the SEC orders BlockOne, which is the parent. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a parent company of EOS. Correct?
Yes, it is.
They have to pay a $24 million penalty for an unregistered ICO, but pretty sure they settled with them. At least that's what the headline I saw was. It's like they kind of just knew that they were going to have to pay for this, ahead of time with their $94 billion ICO.
Yeah, I mean, they probably looked around. They're like, "Hey, listen, how about we give you a couple of million? We call it even. It's good. You look away." I mean,
exactly. They raised over $2 billion, right? Like
$94 billion.
1%. This isn't even the transaction fee that you would be charged by fucking Square.
That's right.
To do a transaction.
That's right. It's exactly like what happened with the Wall Street banks after the crash, right? Where like the quote unquote penalties that go to these companies are actually just a great cost of doing business. Hey, you can make $100, but it's going to cost you a 50-cent fee. Oh, okay.
Do you think? I mean, ultimately, it does. If they had to pay $24 million of all that money, then maybe they were kind of thinking a little bit ahead and just being like, all right, we're probably going to have to pay this. I wonder if EOS is going to move forward now with maybe things that been keeping people in doubt. Like, what was the issue? Was like the governance? I know we covered it a few episodes ago.
Yeah, I mean, really the only issue that we have identified with EOS is just basically what it is and everything about it.
Yeah. Just like
I'm sorry, okay, that's an exaggeration, but yes, the governance structure. I mean, come on. Look, I grant you, Adam. I mean, that's a generous interpretation. They probably were thinking ahead, but their number one concern was just raising as much money as they could, and they did for themselves. And then they centralized the power for themselves.
You've got to hand it to Mr. Brock Brock, the hype man, helping him out. John Oliver with the assist there, letting people know what EOS was. And yeah, they did a good job raising funds. I can't imagine they're going to actually do a good job of creating a product because we've seen the product and it sucks, but they did a great job raising money.
Yep. And here's what happens when you don't do a great job of raising money. The coin Siacoin, they only had to pay $225K for an SEC settlement, but
the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah, but hold on. For the same kind of thing, but it was over only $120,000 in unregistered tokens. So yeah, like in their own token sale. So they actually had to pay 200% of their token sale, and EOS had to pay 1%.
1%. Yes. Well, at least
that's crazy. Siacoin must have raised money like a long time ago then, if they only got that much. 2014,
which is pretty crazy, actually.
At least they're treating us like traditional businesses. The big ones get special treatment, and the little ones get shit on.
See you later.
Oh, I think it was.
Get it?
Actually, they were actually called. Oh yeah, that's solid. It's all right.
Yeah, that was a good joke. Very good. Go ahead, Adam.
I think they were called Nebulous in 2014, and yeah. So, and I guess they rebranded to Sia eventually. 2014. That's a real early ICO. That was like 3 years before we all lost our shits. Anything that had a crypto in it.
Yeah, and lost all of our shit on top of it.
Yes, we lost our shit and lost our shit. So we got two more now. The CEO of Beaxy, Beaxy, disappears as the exchange struggles to remain solvent. I feel like this happens every couple of months.
It's happening all the time. I just like to report on them. We've been telling everybody about all these like big, soft or hard scams. They're coming. I feel like every show we're going to have another one where this is happening. Like nobody was ready for a bull market. Nobody was ready for, the money to stop flowing. This is crazy. These things are going to keep toppling. That's what I said.
Okay.
I mean, it does feel, think about it when you're talking to a girl and then all of a sudden you just like say something dumb and then their texts become a little farther apart. And then one day they just don't respond. And then you just like are like, hey, what's up? And they just don't respond. And you just like, it's kind of, how it goes with being a CEO of an insolvent exchange where you try to give reports here and there. And then all of a sudden you're like, what can I even say to these people? Like there's nothing, I kind of just have to peace out, disappear.
I love how specific Adam's example is there. He's just like, sometimes you say something stupid and then they start texting you less. And
not you're like, I'm waiting
last night or 2 episodes ago.
I mean,
is this the girl that stood you up before that episode?
No. This hasn't happened recently, but I just have definitely been ghosted like that in the past where it's just like, yep, I was too much of myself too early. Yep, GG.
Do you have any examples of dumb things that you've said that you immediately were like, man, I shouldn't have said that?
I mean, I don't know. There's too many to list. Yeah. There's too many to list.
We've all said dumb stuff to girls. Hold on a second. The next story on the rapid fire is they're remaking Cool Runnings. Can you please tell me about this?
No. I have to keep talking to Brent about my dumb. Okay, I'm kidding. So the dog. So Dogcoin users. This is something that popped up on. Sorry, Doge. Popped up on Reddit like 5 years ago, January 20th, 2014, and it was in a Today I Learned. That's how I saw it, which is hilarious. It said Dogecoin users raised $30K to send the Jamaican bobsled team to the Winter Olympics. And then there's a picture below it that just has a bunch of Shiba Inus photoshopped on the Jamaican bobsled team from Cool Runnings. And it's like, Jamaica, we have a Doge sled team. I really just like saying,
how to believe.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly pretty cool,
Yeah, this was in 2014. Damn, think about how much that Doge is worth now. That Jamaican bobsled team is like, we could have not played, man. Fuck, we had all the money.
And as a reference point, they were also trying to raise money, the Jamaican sled team, on their Indiegogo, and they raised 5,000 there. So like Doge raised like 14 times or whatever, as many times. Wait, no, that's bad. Seven times as many, 7 times as much money as they were able to in Indiegogo. So yeah, man, crypto's powerful.
They ended up selling 26 million Dogecoin. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And I think that pretty much wraps up the rapid fire. And now we want to hear a little ad from our friends at Wild Foods.
Oh, our friends at Wild Foods. Oh, yeah. You're talking about those guys that we know that we're friends with. No, so 2 things. One, you hear this on every show so far because we are still somehow sponsored by Wild Foods. I don't know. They haven't figured out that it's a bad idea to pay us yet. But they are a really good company. Awesome ingredients, well-sourced materials, food from small farms around the world. You can get your stuff at wildfoods.co, and they will send it to you really fast. Or you can go on Amazon. They're on there, too. They'll send it faster than I was able to get Kareem his samples. Took a little bit.
Those of you that are on the Discord saw the picture I shared. I was pretty excited. And, the first one I tried, I had done the lion's mane before in like a protein shake, but I put it in some tea because that's what it said on the package. I hadn't really tried that, so I brewed some green tea, kind of put a scoop of that. It's pretty good, pretty earthy, pretty tasty. Lion's mane's supposed to help you with your brain stuff. So anyway, it's good stuff.
Yeah, they have a few different mushrooms and blends and stuff like that. So Kareem got a little care box. It wasn't Discord. But I had a question about that Discord. So there's pictures of all the Wild Foods products. And then there's the pictures of the games that we played like 3 weeks ago. I'm just confirming that we hadn't put those away.
Incorrect. We had friends over the night before.
Oh,
those I didn't put away.
I was really
terrible read.
Just like, damn. Okay. All right. So that's cool. So that's I'm glad you got your products. I'm glad we are still sponsored by Wild Foods, and we'll see how long they keep liking us. Use the code CryptoBasic12 though to show them that it's worth sponsoring CryptoBasic. Now
let's go to the meat of this show. Let's go to the big stories we got over the week. Kareem, do you want to tell us about crypto exchanges creating a token rating system?
That's right. So this actually comes from Coinbase. I think it's kind of a big deal because this looks like the industry's attempt to get ahead of the SEC in a way, sort of. So this comes from a blog that Coinbase released that said they were introducing the Crypto Rating Council. All right. And essentially they wanted to create a system that would yield a score that rates how close a token is to a security. So in the blog, they say, look, the SEC has given us some guidance on this. They're very deferential. They've given us some helpful guidance, blah, blah, blah. But their main argument is that ultimately the analysis of figuring out whether or not a token is a security is fact-intensive research and analysis, and it requires experts, and that it's going to be difficult and expensive. And if you just have all these institutions doing it separately, government, people, policies, you're going to have disagreements. So what Coinbase wanted to do was get a bunch of industry leaders, they're referring mostly to exchanges and investors, and securities law experts to come together and create a system, a standardized system that was scalable, points-based, and it was centered around several yes or no factual questions. So they're trying to reduce the amount of subjectivity. And the questions themselves that they apply derive from the SEC guidance. So they're using SEC guidance and also case law. So where there have actually been, lawsuits and whatever was ruled, whatever precedent we have, right? So that's how they constructed this system. And they claim, or they say that they're going to try to make it as objective, repeatable, and fact-based as possible, fact-based questions, right? So who are the members of the council? Just as a reference point, it's a company called Anchorage, Bittrex, Circle, Coinbase, DRW Cumberland. They're like a big investment, asset management. Genesis as well. Grayscale Investments. These guys are also essentially doing big time investment. And Kraken. So the only one here that I didn't reckon that isn't an investment firm or an exchange is Anchorage. And I just wanted to go on a little quick tangent and tell you guys about Anchorage. Apparently, they're part of this Libra Association.
Wait, we're talking about the city?
No, Anchorage is one of the partners of the project.
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
So what,
I was reading my article and all I heard was Anchorage, and I was like, wait, I don't understand. I'm sorry. Please
stay focused, Brent. Come on.
Yeah, so Anchorage here is the only part of the council that isn't either an investment firm or an exchange. And what they do is they apparently created a large-scale vault for businesses, for big-time businesses, where transactions are validated by something that they call a quorum. So there's no usernames or passwords or wallets or something. Apparently, this was created when a company contacted these individuals about $1 million that they had lost in cryptocurrency because they lost the password, they lost the key. So they wanted to develop something that's for like, okay, what do you do with these big businesses that want to have, let's say, $20 million worth of Bitcoin? Well, you can't just leave it to who, like somebody could transfer it away, somebody could steal it, somebody could hack it, you could lose the password. So they have this system where like you whitelist certain phones, and then when somebody initiates a transaction, like let's say somebody said, I want to send $5 million worth of Bitcoin, basically more than half of your employees, more than half of the whitelisted devices would have to approve. And then they will also use, biometrics and network signals. And so it's like a service for bigger institutions, right?
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah. I agree. I thought it was pretty interesting. I wasn't familiar with them. So anyway, bringing it back to Coinbase and the rating system. The rating system is on a scale of 1 to 5. A 5 being the most like a security. Okay. And they've already said, listen, these scores aren't static. They can change over time, right? They're open to if somebody feels that it's an unfair score and they want to give reasons as to why. But these scores they don't take in developer input, right? They don't call Ripple or Ethereum or Cardano to talk to them about their score, even though they will take in input in general from developers. So they've already released their website. I went to their website to just kind of explore the rating system. They haven't released that many coins, only a few. I wanted to read it to you guys so we can get an idea of the system. So starting off with the lowest score, Bitcoin. Bitcoin got a 1.0. That means it is the least like a security. And then they have these little summaries, right? Like these little kind of characteristics about the coin. And here's what they say about Bitcoin. Absence of a marketed token sale and marketing efforts, decentralized development and usage, and anonymity of the project team. So those aspects, those aspects make Bitcoin a 1.0. What else is a 1.0 on there? Litecoin and Monero are two of the coins that I saw that are basically the least like a security. Next up on the chain,
we know who Charlie Lee created it. Created Litecoin, right? Like that.
No, well, yeah, but development team is not necessarily the creator, right? It's probably
okay. That's a good point.
But that seems like a very like weird. That's not a just because you may know or may not know. I feel how does that make it a security or not? It doesn't seem like a good.
No, but
there's no one to come after.
There's no one to come after, but also, guys, don't forget that a security really is about. Remember when we did the whole Howey Law thing, this was about whether you're investing in someone else's work and expecting that to yield a profit, right? When you buy Tesla stock is because you believe that Elon Musk and his executives are going to turn a profit and are going to do the market and they're going to do all the research and all the work and all the development. And you expect to profit from that, right? So it's reasonable for them to say, okay, if you're investing on a specific, hey, this development team is good and I'm investing in them. That's different than if there's like this decentralized development team by majority, which is the case with something like Bitcoin or Litecoin.
Got it.
Anyway, so with Ethereum, they say it's a 2. And they here are some of the blurbs. current functionality of the platform. I think they say what they're trying to say is that it is functional. The absence of investment-like language or marketing, the fact that it's decentralized development and usage. And the coin that also had a 2 was Zcash. Not a 1, but a 2. They're putting it in similar categories to Ethereum. EOS got a 3.75. Absence of investment-like language or marketing. Current functionality of the platform. These are similar to Ethereum, but check this one out. Raised funds in excess of what would reasonably be necessary for development of the platform.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but they had to pay all those fees and fines and stuff.
Yeah, 0.5%. So just to give you guys, these are projects that you would recognize that are in the same category as EOS. Decentraland got a 3.75.
Before you go forward, I also would like to point out that EOS has been found by the SEC to have done an unregistered securities offering. So I guess this is the level of like, this is where you're fucked. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I mean, apparently, yeah, but also they find them, and if that's the end of the conversation, then whatever.
Yeah, I guess who cares?
Hedera Hashgraph, Loom Network, Stellar, and Tezos. All of those were also 3.75. And then this was
pains me to hear most of those in the same category as EOS.
I'm just to clarify, is it bad if you're a security? Is it always bad?
It's not about being good or bad. It's about if you are a security, you now fall under the regulations of securities laws. And if they're not meeting those requirements, like let's say, for example, they have to know the names of the investors and all this stuff, then you're violating securities laws, right? Whereas like Bitcoin doesn't have to worry about that because you're not participating in a security transaction.
Makes sense.
And this was the most controversial one, guys. This was the one that will probably create a little more, shaking, but XRP got a 4. And the reason I say that this is important is because the CEO of Ripple Labs has on the media specifically said that it's ridiculous to call XRP, the token, a security or whatever. So now that this score is coming forward, you can expect some pushback from them. But here was the blurbs on XRP. Usage of securities-like language, the sale of tokens or token interest prior to the existence of token utility, marketing of the tokens suggesting an opportunity to earn profits, and they do give it decentralized development and usage. Anyway, that's more or less it. I'm assuming that they're going to keep rolling out scores. I do think
so. XRP has the worst score that's been rolled out so far.
XRP is the most like a security. We probably shouldn't frame it as a worst or best.
Yeah, yes.
XRP is the most security like token.
They've been so hard on that messaging recently too, where they're just like, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting to see. I also was hoping that they were gonna. When I heard creating a token rating system, I was hoping it was more like, these coins are useful and good, but no, they're more just like, or not scams at least. And this is more just like, like these might be an illegal gray area. Watch yourself.
But you know what? There's going to be some benefit for the community as a whole that doesn't seem as tangible. But we could think about it this way, right? Now there's basically all of this corporate institutional effort to rate these at whether or not they're securities. Now businesses can make more educated investments, right? A business that doesn't really know that much about cryptocurrency and is deciding whether or not to hop in, and they have to worry about all this securities law stuff, and they don't know what is and what isn't. And most of them are probably like, dude, this is not worth it, right? But now you could still have a little ambiguity. You're not 100% sure, but hey, check it out. This big scoring system with a bunch of major investors and exchanges says that this token is not even close to a security, or this project is not even close to a security. Well, you're going to get more aggressive investment, right?
That is an excellent point. And then that might drive the price back up, right? If more people invest.
Well, I meant investment in actually developing the projects. I don't know shit about price.
Yeah.
Price is also a reflection of liquidity, Brent, not value.
Listen, speaking about price, since we're talking about price right now, you know how much we love to talk about price. Kareem, first of all, what is the price of Bitcoin today?
Come on. $9,000.
Not quite. We're hovering right around 8,200. pretty close though. I did realize the market basically tanked after you bought in again. So I'm pretty sure this is your fault. We were doing all kinds of analysis about crotchety old dudes and stuff like that. What's the feng shui like in your house, bro?
Yeah, but I got into Cardano. Should the whole market tank just because I bought Cardano? Remember, my goal was to buy Bitcoin, and then I was like, snap. But Cardano's more.
You were going to buy Bitcoin, then you forgot, and then you bought Cardano. But I think that's like, they're just like, well, we never know what Kareem's going to do. We were just going to tank Bitcoin, so now we're going to tank it all. Those Russian people on the phone are like messing with the whole market because of you. So
it actually tanked. Like, I feel like I woke up maybe 45 minutes ago or something, and it was at 8,700. So it was a very quick tank. I think once Kareem, hopped on, Discord,
he got it on the airwaves again. They're like,
yeah.
Is it relevant at all that the Dow Jones and S&P are also suffering?
No.
I don't know. Have you bought any of the Dow Jones or S&P shares lately?
No.
We don't use logic here at the Crypto Basic Podcast. So, Brent, do you want to tell us about your favorite state?
By the way, before you guys move on, I just want to point out, like, how sweet would it be if you knew that, like, if Bitcoin got below 8,000, the Federal Reserve's just going to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin because they don't want the price to drop. Sorry, I'm just saying, like, this is when we're talking about how, like, the interest rates and all this stuff, you have central banks jumping into stock markets, and they literally do open market operations if stocks are falling. And I just want to say, like, actually think about it. Think about if you knew that there's no way Bitcoin gets below 8,000 because the moment he gets close, the Federal Reserve is just like, oh, we got to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. It's pretty silly. That's the real world we live in, though. Just want everybody to know.
So you're saying the Federal Reserve is about to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin?
If by Bitcoin we mean stocks, when stocks are falling, then yes.
All right, perfect. Okay, I was just trying to get an actionable item out of our non-financial advice there, Kareem. That was a good job. It's almost like if you know the hole cards that your opponents have, it's easier to play the game.
Yeah.
Do you know what 1 billion is of the Federal Reserve's total assets? It's not even what it's not even 1% like what Yost paid. It's like, I mean, it's a quarter of a
just
percent.
The cost of doing business, boys. Just the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of my favorite state, like you said, Adam, I don't know why this is my favorite state. I've never even been to Ohio, as far as I know, and I dislike Ohio State because Urban Meyer was the coach at Florida when I was there, and then he faked a heart attack so that he could leave and go to Ohio State. So,
I mean, Gainesville, Florida is great, but at some point you just not
anymore.
Grow up.
Yeah,
dude,
you gotta get out. Maybe he got out earlier.
Did not enjoy my adult experience in Gainesville when I was there for a little bit, getting that escape room.
Yeah, you don't want to be an adult in Gainesville. You want to be like a 24-year-old. That's a good time. Urban Meyer, he's double that. He needs to get out.
Yeah, I mean, and his heart was having so much trouble. Okay, so anyway, Ohio is no longer accepting BitPay. Now, there's been a little bit of controversy with BitPay that we haven't covered because we haven't been able to look into it and do it justice, but the core developers, Bitcoin, didn't like something that they did. This has nothing to do with that. This is just Ohio had ohiocrypto.com, and they were accepting tax payments in Bitcoin or anything else that BitPay could do. They went ahead and looked at everything that was happening on the blockchain and everything, and they're like, look, guys, less than 10 businesses in the entire state even took advantage of this. They also threw in this extra language to say, like, we can't even really tell you more about the businesses other than it's less than 10, which makes me think that it was like less than 10 businesses that were so small that they're like, why are we even bothering with this? And this happens across the board. When all these websites or whatever, they accept crypto, nobody uses it on the websites, which is super scary when you're thinking about like how it's going to become an ubiquitous payment processing system. Like, we're not even close to there yet. Nobody uses it for those purposes. It's difficult too. It also involved like a weird internal review where they may be not 100% sure what is a financial transaction device and stuff. Like they're having it looked at by their state attorney. So maybe they will allow taxes to be paid in crypto again in the future. But for now, operation of OhioCrypto.com has been suspended, waiting on the Attorney General's formal opinion, and just another step in the wrong direction. But I brought this up because one of the things that we've talked about is, one of the big reasons that you never have to worry about the dollar's value is that you have to pay taxes with the dollar. The more you can not pay taxes with the dollar, I don't know. How does that affect? Going to our local dollar expert, Kareem, how does this affect anything overall?
Well, I mean, it's showing the reality that one of the main criticisms of the cryptocurrency space, which is that we're not really creating an alternative payment network, but that right now it's just fueled by speculation and investment, is 100% correct. Not 100% correct, but it's mostly true, And the only thing I'll add to the dollar is, you have taxes that have to be paid in dollars, debt that has to be serviced in dollars. For sure, the idea of Bitcoin serving as a replacement to the dollar, I think, is just not feasible in Bitcoin's current state, and also not feasible within like many, 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 many years.
It's going to take a while. It really is. And I hope we can get there eventually. But
maybe Anchorage can help us out.
As a quick side note, just to because, we never can predict the future, right? So one of the things that we can consider is that maybe the dollar becomes one of the most global currencies ever used, but that the historical chapter after the dollar is actually a bunch of fragmented currencies all over the world that, because of the technology that exists, are easy to exchange and interoperate. But maybe it will never be a replacement to the dollar, because maybe the dollar was the biggest, that's when this big country that could control a lot of other countries after World War II was able to implement the financial system and yada, yada, yada. But maybe the next chapter is not one bigger currency. Maybe it's something more fragmented, and we don't know.
That's an interesting thought.
I mean, that is. I think there's going to be some fireworks that happen regarding all of this in the next few years, and some things that we can't anticipate whatsoever.
Also, I love that books are still being used, textbooks, which cost a ton of money in Kareem's future, and we have to turn pages. Oh, geez, whatever happened to ebooks? Bill Gates said that there was not going to be any need for physical books anymore. Turns out he was wrong, according to Kareem's future. Kareem, speaking of the future and the dollar, can you tell us about what's going on with Libra?
Sorry, yes, great news. I mean, bad news. Well, okay.
Wait, which is it?
Okay, that's the thing. I'm going to tell you guys a bunch of bad news, which is great news because they're bad news for Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes, so that is good. Yeah. Okay, I understand.
You understand what I'm saying now, guys? So I want to give the audience and my fellow co-hosts here an update on the Libra situation. But then going down that rabbit hole just made me realize that Facebook is suffering. And I think it's fantastic. So here we go. First, as you guys know, Libra has been faced with a ton of opposition from official government sources. So the Federal Reserve, the Treasury Department, the House Banking Committee, the Senate Banking Committee, the EU Antitrust offices, Indian and Chinese officials, and the French have all come out and basically said, Libra, this is probably not happening. The French have come out and said, we'll stop it in Europe. It's not going to happen, basically. Now, I'm not saying that the French are right, but they're facing opposition here from all sides. And now, on Tuesday, a Wall Street Journal story broke, which was explaining that Visa and MasterCard and some of the other financial partners, some of the people that signed up to help build the payment network, they're now reconsidering whether they should be a part of it at all. And one of the reasons, well, before I get to that, Facebook is actually asking them hey, this is it. This is the time. We need your help. Can you guys please come out in support of Libra vocally? And Visa and MasterCard and everybody's like, no, you're good. You guys push for it. And And of course, now Facebook is starting to really worry about being able to keep Libra on track. And here's the thing. One of the difficulties for the partners that was expressed is that they are worried that pushing for Libra was going to attract broader regulatory scrutiny to their own business, to their own financial activities. Well, they were right, because the Department of Justice has now requested that Visa, MasterCard, Stripe, and PayPal provide a complete overview of their money laundering compliance programs, and they want to know how Libra is going to fit into that, right? Because they're saying, okay, you want to be a part of this project? Show us all the due diligence that you've done. Well, here's the problem for Facebook. The 28 members of the committee, the only commitment that they've made is write a letter. Nobody has, there's no contracts. You know, the $10 million that each one is supposed to contribute to be essentially a node and contribute to the development? Yeah, nobody has paid that yet. This is all just like a handshake agreement.
Man. It's like getting a fantasy football league together. It's like everybody's like, yeah, I'm in. And then like nobody pays until draft day. And then you're like, oh no.
There's all this drama blowing up before draft day and nobody has paid. Nobody's even confirmed that they're going to the draft. You still got like 4 people that haven't confirmed. That's the current situation for Facebook. And everybody's freaking out. They're seeing that this is a fight with every government. And a bunch of these guys are probably like, oh, this is not worth it. And what makes this even juicier is that on a different front, nothing to do with Libra, Facebook is getting hammered from every angle, guys. Number one, the Department of Justice has opened an antitrust investigation of Facebook.
Let's go.
The FTC has also opened an antitrust investigation, and multiple states. And when I say multiple, I don't mean like 3. It's led by the New York Attorney General, but the states that are participating are Colorado, Florida, Iowa, Nebraska, North Carolina, Ohio, Tennessee, and DC, the District of Columbia.
Wow.
And those are pretty it's not like they're all red or all blue. That's very
No, exact same thought, Brent. I had the same thought. So this is really like, and it's just getting started, right? You never know who's going to hop on board. And I love this. I think you guys are going to kick out of this. The federal investigation, this is the one that's led by the FTC, is actually getting help from Snapchat, because the legal team at Snapchat has kept a dossier for years about all of the ways that they felt Facebook was trying to thwart competition unscrupulously, illegally, or through antitrust.
God.
No joke. The title of the document, Project Voldemort. That's what they called it at Snapchat. They had this ongoing dossier, just keeping track of Project Voldemort. All right. So,
oh my God.
Don't say it one more time.
What kinds of things are in the dossier, or what is in the document that Snapchat is alleging? Well, for example, it appears that Instagram was preventing influencers from being able to link their Snapchat profile on their bios, and was even threatening to like ban them or remove them or whatever. So it was preventing traffic from going to Snapchat. On top of that, they say that Snapchat content was prevented from trending on the platform, or that when people searched the video that was coming from Snapchat, search results were suppressed. Basically, all kinds of subtle ways in which Facebook was manipulating it to prevent Snapchat from growing fairly.
Interesting. We know Snapchat's not doing that themselves, because I get an ad for TikTok every time I open the damn thing.
And to make matters worse, it's not just Snapchat that is participating.
Wait, do they own TikTok?
No.
Snapchat?
Some Chinese company owns TikTok.
Oh, okay.
To make matters worse, guys, it's not just Snapchat. It looks like the FTC has been reaching out to a bunch of Facebook competitors and asking for their cooperation, finding out ways in which Facebook has behaved like a monopoly. And
in unrelated news, Google Plus has been reactivated.
Well, yeah, I'm like, who's a Facebook competitor?
Yeah, well, I mean, we were just talking about
we're just talking about Snapchat. Reach out to Instagram.
No, because here's another thing that they do. They also were talking to app developers, because sometimes they can manipulate you even if you're on their platform by preventing you to take users to a different platform, or whatever the case might be. And here's another point that they're zeroing in on, which is apparently a point of contention. There was a VPN called Onavo apparently Facebook bought them in 2013. Remember, this is a VPN I actually don't know. Is it virtual private network?
Virtual private
Proxy.
network, I believe.
I thought it was
proxy
network.
Proxy network, that makes sense. Anyway, bounces around, right? It's supposed to hide what you're doing and your identity and all that stuff, which of course Facebook, well, oh yeah, they were protecting your privacy for never. What did they do with this? They were getting user data. So if you installed this on your phone, they were seeing what you were doing with all of the different apps on your phone. Anytime you were online, they were just monitoring everything that you were doing. And guess what? It looks like the information that they got from this app is the reason that they were able to identify that WhatsApp represented a real threat. And that's why they pulled the trigger on buying it. They could see that people were using it. They could see what people were doing when they were outside of Facebook because of this VPN.
My God.
So they were forced to shut that down eventually. But of course, like they were also using the VPN to monitor how people use Snapchat and how many snaps a day you would send and all this stuff. So the bottom line here, guys, is I wanted to give an update on Libra and basically say they're facing an uphill battle. Don't be surprised if you start hearing that it starts falling apart, that a bunch of corporate members go and disappear and don't want to have this fight with them. And on top of that, Facebook is being attacked from every angle. And I got to tell you, I love it because Facebook is trash. Their executive team is trash, and Zuckerberg's the worst CEO.
That is something that I feel like we were talking about a few months ago. Just the fact that, they were going to face within the first week, there was Maxine Waters that was, saying to Facebook needed to stop and all these things. And you just knew that was just the start of this waterfall of criticism and roadblocks.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Facebook. It's the one uniting thing across the aisle. Republicans and Democrats alone, they hate Mark Zuckerberg. I also remember seeing Mark Zuckerberg they had like a recording of him where he's like, he's creating an us versus them mentality with the whole company, where he's like, the government's against us. All these people are against us. We got to show them, which is always dangerous.
Dude, I mean, look, every single internal thing that has come from them, it's been clear that Facebook has never tried to do the right thing. Here, like, the reality is, I'm not naive about the world. I understand that the corporate incentive structure is going to inevitably mean that as companies get bigger, they're going to trample on our rights because that's how they make more money. If they can pollute, if they can take your identity, your data, if they can whatever, they're going to make more money. But Facebook has literally never even tried. They've just always lied. They always do the worst thing. They're always selling, your data privately. I mean, it's famous from that old quote where Zuckerberg offered information on people that went to Harvard or something to a friend, and he's like, I can give you whatever you need, social security numbers, blah blah blah. And then the friend said, how do you have all this stuff? And he said, I don't know. They trust me, dumb fucks. That's a real conversation that happened years ago. So that's it. It rots from the head down. You know what I mean? That's been his attitude the whole time.
Yeah, at least Google has that whole thing where at any point, anyone in the company can stop and be like, is this evil? And they have to have a discussion about the morality of what they are about to try to do.
They got rid of that, Brent. Don't be evil is not their.
Did they really?
Yeah.
What? Yep. Oh, my God.
Oh, guys. Detach yourself from the idea that Google's a good guy anymore. I mean, they're coming down this path, but they're not as bad as Facebook.
No, listen, I've never thought that Google was the good guy. I just think that like things like that they were doing were helping them not be as bad as they could be. Mm-hmm. So what do you mean they got rid of that? Like what? Like they got in trouble for the?
They dropped it. Just like Fox News was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't call ourselves fair and balanced anymore. Like Fox News literally had enough awareness to be like, yeah, we're not fair and balanced. Let's just get rid of it. Right? Well, Google was like, you know what? This whole don't be evil thing, it's getting thrown in our face a little too much.
So I just wanted to circle back. I have a few things from the things we were talking about along the episode. That 30 million Dogecoin, 26 million, is actually only worth like double what it is in 2014. It was at like,
oh wow, poor Doge.
Yeah, 1/10 of a penny, and now it's like 1/5 of a penny, which is kind of crazy. Also, it is virtual private network, even though it is a proxy server.
It was
a little confusing.
Boom.
And I have a dumb thing that I did many years ago too when talking to a girl. If you want to hear that one.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
The girl asked me, basically I picked this girl up at Olive Garden when I was waiting tables, and I just asked her in front of like a few other women if she wanted to like go out, whatever. And then she asked me, this is when I was like 20, so I was like probably incredibly stupid regarding being able to talk to women. And she asked me, "Hey, like, why'd you end up talking to me?" And I just was like, the first girl had a boyfriend, and then you were, and then like she stopped talking to me, and I was like, I didn't understand why. Yeah,
she stopped talking to you just because you told her that she was your second choice next to her friend who's taking.
Yeah, I know that's just out of line, man.
Fragile egos.
Yeah. So, I mean, just think about, so let's say less dumb stuff to women now, but like still things happen. But that was from like when I was like 20.
That was a good callback. You know, like when in stand-up comedy, they tell you a joke, and then when it's wrapping up, they bring the joke back. That's what Adam just did there. That was masterful
I feel like I couldn't really think of a good one on the spot. I also think there are just certain things that arise, like in the middle of the episode, that are interesting, like the fact that it's only doubled for the Dogecoin that they paid 5 years ago. It's kind of crazy, almost 6 to be honest. But
I mean,
yeah,
what that it only doubled though, right? Like that would still make it a pretty solid investment, right? I'm pretty sure. Like I'm not a compounding genius or whatever, but I don't think 5 years at 10% compound to double, does it?
No, not 5 years.
So it's probably more than 10% compound.
Yes, but they spent it, so it doesn't really matter. You know,
I'm just saying hypothetically.
They had bobsled.
I'm playing. Yeah. Well, you know, they probably spent it on sleds.
Stupid sleds.
All right, and we got one more story here, guys, for That's a Scam, which is the Crypto Basics specialty, I think. We're basically just scam detectors. That's what we do. That's our service to the community. That's a scam! What's this Fairwind story?
We should just like rebrand to Scams Basic.
No. Crypto Basics Scam Detector.
All right. So it's scam time. We're talking about something near and dear to our hearts. Online gambling. There's a company called Fairwin. So what is Fairwin? What does it have to do with online gambling? Well, I went to the website to find out. Yeah, of course, it's fair in some fashion. I went to the website to find out. I want to know a little bit more. So right on the website, first page, front and center, they have their logo with the explanation of what they are. So I'm going to read that to you guys now. Blockchain plus gambling, blockchain plus game, establish industry standard interface, 70% income, anti-subsidy investor players. Everybody got that? No. That is what they do.
But to interject, this is a Chinese company?
I don't know. Whoa. I don't know what they are. We'll get into that.
All right.
But yeah, clearly somebody ran something through Google Translate and did not bother to run that by anybody, be like, hey, does this make sense to you? They were just like, yes, this is what we do. You know, and I said that in Russian. I don't know if they're Russian either. So yeah, that's what they do. They had like some other imagery that said like a guarantee is guarantee. So anyway, the guy who reported on this was on Medium. His name is Philippe Castonguay, I hope. And
solid.
You can read that the whole article in the show notes. I just pulled out some of the more interesting parts. Number one red flag is the pictures of their team were pictures of famous people. So there was a famous piano player named Dang Tai Son and a famous Instagram influencer named Jessica Vu who were on their team with other fake names. So this dude who was doing the research found bugs all over the contract. He found a bug that let somebody take out 2,600 Ethereum earlier, which was actually another guy who was doing research on them. So there was another guy who was he researches Ethereum contracts that have a lot of money in them. And he sent that money not to himself, but to one of the admins to prove that he could take the money out and then like reported it to them. So that's how he showed that he got the bug. I don't know if he got paid for it, but That's basically what happens. So this guy finds an exploit where you can like swap something, the invite code, and get all the Ethereum that is being deposited. He was chatting with a bunch of people internally about how are we going to go public with this, because if we do go public with this, the people who have their money on the site are going to try to do a run on it. And these other guys, we know that they have an exploit where they can take the money out. So we need to help people get their money off here, and we need to explain this. But at the same time, like the second we do, it's over. And that's what happened. So they exposed the scam last week. And of course, as soon as they exposed it, the funds in the contract started to disappear. People were trying to withdraw their money. Either the team took a bunch of money, or they were very specific at who they allowed to take money out of the smart contract. So apparently they had control over that. And the article said it was $150 million total Ponzi scheme. I don't know where that number came from. I didn't fact check that. But when it went down, there was only like $8 million in the contract or something like that. Wow. So maybe they raised a bunch of money or something like that. They were also paying a lot of gas fees. So yeah, there we go. Another one bites the dust. But again, this is why we talk about red flags. Generally, if the pictures of the team people can be Google image reverse searched, you probably shouldn't invest in a coin or be a part of their company.
So I dug into their socials and I went to their LinkedIn, and I'm just going to read the first sentence. Fairwind is skilled group of developers working in the game industry since 2008 and located in Moscow, Russia. So
I was correct with my thing there. Yes, the Asian people live in the Moscow. That's of course the truth.
It's just crazy that they have broken English in their own about us. Like there's just a lot of, I don't know. I find when you have stuff like that, especially in like an important, very professional website like LinkedIn, it sometimes is going to set up not necessarily for a scam, but it's going to set up a red flag for it like being maybe sketch or just not well put together.
Yeah, just so we're clear, Kareem, is English your first language?
Negative.
Yeah, and we haven't heard Kareem talk like this. So the red flag is that these people are not as smart as Kareem, if anything, and you better be at least as smart as Kareem to run a blockchain project.
These guys made millions of dollars, though, so they're doing something right. I have zero millions of dollars, so I don't really want to compare myself to these guys. Although they got Putin helping them. That's not fair.
Actually, I should have just continued the LinkedIn paragraph because it actually just gets better. It says,
yes.
During our work, we have created hundreds of online games for our partners. We have developed a lot of mathematical algorithms, providing fine balance between player excitement and system profit. We have unique knowledge and experience. That's just a sentence. Profit. And then our products have the highest level of protection from unauthorized access. The stability of our games is confirmed by many years of practice.
Please tell me the word profit is in all caps.
No, it's not.
Oh, that would be great.
Man, it's good. This is quality.
Make sure you do your research on this stuff and don't fall for this stuff. It's so sad to see every one of these pop up and go down. And I wish I knew enough about blockchain to actually go investigate this stuff like on chain. Instead, in fairness, we are often trusting the people that do have the ability to do that with their analyses, but they always provide proof. So,
well, and more importantly, we're also analyzing the response to those criticisms. It's not like legitimate projects haven't been accused of being scams. You could pick any project, you could pick anything, and there's somebody online saying, "Oh, this is this." So you analyze the criticism and you analyze the response, and you use what we can. We're not experts, but we can look at human behavior. We can see who's using logical fallacies. We can see who's getting defensive, who's trying to address core issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, and yes. All right. Well, that'll wrap up today's flagship, I think. But before we go, I forgot last week to talk about all of our Patreon members. So we are going to talk about them now. You want to join the Patreon, go to patreon.com/cryptobasic. Also, Patreon members who are waiting on your NFTs. So I got a new phone, and actually, I'm going to tell a quick story. We're taking a second I ended up getting a phone for free, a Samsung Note 10 Plus for free. But here's how it works. So I was on Jump on Demand with T-Mobile. I did a jump, and I got the new phone. It showed up, and like the day after it got here, I noticed there was a crack in it. I don't think I put that crack there because I've never cracked a phone. As stupid as I am and as clumsy as I am, I've never once cracked a phone that I've ever owned. So I got on with Twitter support on T-Mobile, which is always awesome. And I said, hey, I got this phone cracked. It's like, I didn't do it. I sent him a picture. It's really tiny. I'm like, but I feel like I don't want to get charged for this later when I turn the phone in, because Jump on Demand, you're leasing it. And the guy's like, no problem. We'll send you another one. So he sends me the new phone. And the whole process took a long time because I was traveling. So this is when I was in Miami. My girlfriend met me in Miami. So they sent the phone. She brought the phone with her to Miami. And then while I was in Miami, I sent the phone back by putting I put it in its box. I sent it back to them. I had my new phone, transfer everything over. When they got the phone back, they took the charge off my bill. That was the price of the phone, which was like $1,400 or whatever. And then the guy messages me and says, so due to some weird circumstances, I can't reopen this thing on this phone for whatever reason. Like, I don't know. He didn't even really explain it. He's just like, he said, I basically can't reopen the lease on that phone that we sent you. Rather than have you send it back, we're just going to let you keep it. So you are now in possession of a fully paid off Note 10 Plus at no cost to you. So I ended up with a free phone. But in that process,
that same day, I got my identity stolen. Sorry, continue. Just talking about run.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we didn't even talk about you getting your identity stolen. We should. So in that process, I ended up with a free phone. But then, like, the Engine wallet, there's no desktop wallet, so I have to do it on the phone. And I needed to get home to my private keys to even import it. So everybody's waiting on the actual tokens from Patreon. I swear they're coming. I just got back into town like yesterday. So my private keys are here. I'm going to restore my wallet, and then we'll be good to go. But anyway, so thank you, Patreon members. I'm going to read their names off in a second, but Kareem did mention that his identity was stolen. Do you want to tell that story real quick?
Yeah. My identity got stolen. It's all the bullshit that has to go through to taking care of. End story.
Did they get anything?
They opened some accounts in my name that I got to cancel, but as long I can going through the process of showing that wasn't me.
Wasn't me. All right. Patreon members now. We're gonna go over this. We're starting with the highest tier, Masternode members. We've got Jordan Willis. We have Annette. We have also known as Millie. Anthony Niemeyer and Robert Laverty. Simon Gordon. The Burrito Project. Seems awesome that they're called the Burrito Project. And the Bigger Boat. All still are Masternode, keeping us afloat members, crushing souls at that top level. It's taken one little step down. We've got the Inner Circle Secure Node members. That is the Z-Man. That is Jeff. That is Ether Cocky. I don't even remember when he changed that name, but it's Ether Cocky. And Degenerate Brahmin are all rounding that out. All those people are in possession of these tokens, or will be in possession of these tokens by the end of the day when I restore that wallet. So that is it. Thank you for helping keep the show afloat, everybody. We very much appreciate it. You can always go to our website and see all of their names on the immortalization page. And that's about a wrap there, I think. Everybody right? Oh, wait. What are we not?
We are not financial advisors. We are just a bunch of idiots, and
Yes,
this is not investment advice. Please do not trade on anything that we are talking about. And I think that's pretty much it. And let's have a great freaking week.
We out, everybody. Keep it basic.